So April is Ohio's Native Plant Month. And usually in April, we would be working a lot on things that are outside, on community service projects. We would be planting trees, helping with the Sugar Maple Festival. We would be going on lots of nature hikes. And one of my favorite things we did last year was pulling garlic mustard. And I'm going to talk to you guys today about April, Ohio Native Plant Month, and about how that applies to Leave No Trace. So principle number 4 of Leave No Trace is leave only footprints, take only pictures, and waste only time. So how does that apply to April's Native Plant Month? How can we use Leave No Trace and work on community service projects? So I'm gonna tell you guys, the only time I break the Leave No Trace principles is for invasive species. So invasive species are plants that shouldn't be here, that aren't native, that aren't from here in Ohio, that were introduced and actually are hurting our habitat, our environment, that are taking over. Plants like honeysuckle and garlic mustard. Both of those, once they start somewhere, once they get planted somewhere, once they end up somewhere, they start going crazy and taking over everything. And it cuts out resources and nutrients and space for our native wildflowers, for our native trees and shrubs and plants. So the only time that I will say Cub Scouts go ahead and pick those plants is when you see garlic mustard or honeysuckle. Then absolutely go for it. Here are some tips and some ideas that I'm going to give you to help you identify garlic mustard and honeysuckle and to help make sure that you get rid of it instead of spread it, okay? This would be great to get outside on a nice day, to help out in your woods or your yard. If you're going to go to a park or a preserve, make sure that you get the okay ahead of time from an adult, from a ranger, from a naturalist. But if you go out in your woods, in your yard, and you see garlic mustard or honeysuckle, I'm sure your parents would appreciate the help in getting rid of those invasive plants. So these are the woods by my house. I have this beautiful shagbark hickory tree here. And oh my goodness, so much honeysuckle. Yuck. And look, I have this awesome cutleaf toothwort. I don't want to pick that. Leave No Trace. Virginia Spring Beauties. Awesome. Leave No Trace. Leave those guys. They're violets that are blooming. Those are some spring beauties right there. Make sure you leave all of those. But then there's that guy. That's garlic mustard. And so is that. And that. So those are all plants that we want to get rid of. We want to pull those. So what you do is you're going to reach down low into the ground to where the roots are and just gently pull it up. And make sure that you pull up all those little roots. Get all of those roots. And then if there are flowers on the top or those little seeds on the top, you want to make sure that you take it right over and put it in your trash bag, because you don't want those seeds to spread, because then you just planted a whole bunch more garlic mustard. Then go back and get the next one. Oh, not that one, that's a wildflower. Get this one right down here. And oh no, you don't want to do that. So go back and get those roots. Honeysuckle is a little different. Honeysuckle is probably most of what you see that's green out here in the woods. It's all honeysuckle. It has this kind of brittle branch stem, and they're already green and growing. But unlike garlic mustard, honeysuckle does not have to be let to dry. It doesn't, you don't need to worry so much about it spreading through the pulled plant, because what happens after you pull honeysuckle is it'll dry up and its roots will dry out and it'll just go into the ground and start decomposing. It won't start spreading from a pulled section of honeysuckle. So if you see honeysuckle, it can be a little tougher to pull. So it's nice to wait until the ground is nice and moist, maybe after a good rain. Or if you're feeling frustrated and just need to get outside, it's very satisfying to just go and attack a whole field of honeysuckle and just pull it all out. You feel a great sense of accomplishment. So honeysuckle is one of those plants that you can just go for it. So go get it. Honeysuckle does have very long roots. So it might take a lot of pulling, and one little plant might cover a lot of space because of its long roots. So keep pulling, you'll get the roots up.
It's a world of laughter, a world of tears. It's a world of hope and a world of fear. There's so much that we share that it's time we're aware. It's a small world after all. Whoa, it's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world. This is small world after all. Small world.